Hello friends. Nowadays the energy is in great deficit. Look around and we see many people are fatigued and sluggish, hardly dragging their feet through the day, wishing the day is over and they can come back home and crash. What happened? Let us present our view of this problem. Our human life, as well as the life of other species, is a constant interaction of energy and matter, never stopping and ever changing. Scientists would call this body and mind phenomenon. When we are born, these two factors are balanced by nature, and hardly anybody, when they're young, would complain of fatigue and lack of energy. Little children and young adults are usually vigorous and can go on and on for hours in their active games. Little by little, as we grow, things change. They don't change too quickly though, but throughout the years, we begin noticing that the levels of our activity tolerance are becoming lower, and fatigue and sluggishness kick in and begin to prevail. Sometimes it gets to the point where they take over so much that even the perception of life changes, and we develop depressions and poor sleep or symptoms of various conditions. Let's review what happens between the happy and active childhood and the chronic fatigue that is ruining us later in life. One thing that stands clear is that this is an acquired condition and not something that we're born with. Secondly, is when the amount of matter gets out of balance in any way or form, the energy component gets out of balance too. So here we get to see the reason of this insufficient energy reserves. The amount of matter in the form of internal accumulation of toxic waste products creates blockages in the GI tract, blood and lymphatic circulation, urinary tract, respiratory system, prevents the energy from flowing easily and correctly through the body. Blockages are manifesting as intestinal stones, stagnation of the heavy and poorly digested food, blood vessel plaques, kidney and liver stones, mucus in the lungs, and general accumulation of toxic pollution and impaired elimination of metabolic waste products from internal organs and tissues. All this creates slow moving of the blood through the blood vessels, making it thick and viscous, overloads the liver and other system of elimination. It creates dehydration and affects the mind. The body is preoccupied with its own internal well-being. It strives to sustain the metabolic homeostasis to the optimally functional levels and hardly delivers much energy for the external use, which is physical strength and high activity levels. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. However, it is critical to understand it. And then we have the clearer understanding of the specific conditions and diseases. As we mentioned the root cause of the lack of energy, let us provide you with 5 ways we can naturally reclaim it. The first one is healthy nutrition. Healthy nutrition concept is enclosed in your individual realization of the need to start eating for health and not for any other reason. It is a huge step to mindfulness and natural health. Other principles such as doing it for animals or earth, even though are great and significant, do not fully conceptualize healthy eating. Healthy eating is not some set in stone ultimate concept. Everything in the world is at flex, and for individuals with different physical and mental parameters, healthy eating would constitute different concept, with the ultimate goal of keeping the subtle balance between the internal and external environments of energy and matter to achieve the optimal health results in the present moment, but tomorrow it may change again. So we see that what's good for one may turn bad for the other. But at a grander scale, there are things that are good for human beings collectively, which may not be good for lions or elephants. First, we realize the need to become healthy eaters and draw the connection between the food we eat and our health. Without it, even the healthiest food has a chance to fail. But theory without practice is like a wedding without a bride. Inspirations and intellectualizations will remain empty dogmas if one doesn't begin incorporating it in their daily life and experience it. Where do we begin at this point? A mistake many inspired individuals make in the beginning is jumping into a drastic change of their nutrition to a different type of nutrition and suddenly experiencing a crisis that comes along with it. Of course, different nutrition, different body. What about the transition? How is it perceived and sustained by our mind and the body? This we frequently don't consider, but slowly and surely the change occurs, and this aspect comes to play the most significant role. Within the body-mind phenomenon, the mind is the mover and the body is the moved. Mind can imagine itself living happily in its fantasy world 5 years from now, whereas the body lives here and now and doesn't have a choice but to take the hit of the reality of the day. By changing the type of nutrition, we obligate the body to change radically to something it never been before, and thus the reaction of the body is almost never positive. Body is a slow, lazy, unwilling substance that does not like change and is likely to avert from this experience. And if it does not like it, nothing can convince it otherwise. Now it becomes a task of the mind to make the body its ally and walk hand in hand with it in order to gradually start seeing results. But when the body opens up to this experience, you will not find a better friend. It means that you are on the right path. Initial subtle change should begin in the mind through the mindful actions. Intellectual understanding of healthy nutrition does not do anything to the body. The body does not respond to it. This is not the level where body connects to the mind. The mind is responsible to think of something that without the drastic change unbearable to the body can still put you on the path of healthier you. And then you build upon it. Such things include extensive chewing times, smaller portions of common and habitual foods, changing ratios of food components, following guidelines of proper combinations, eating for life and not for entertainment. And that is all in the spectrum of commonly accepted foods. It comes later that you begin changing the type of foods, integrating one change at a time and observing the response of the body. Once you achieve it, the body will start asking for more and naturally find its own groove. The design of nature works beyond the mind. Here we observe that it is not what you eat, but how you eat type of change that lays the first fundamental building block in your concept of healthy nutrition. And then theory and practice will come hand in hand on the path of progress. The more you learn, and there is a lot more to learn about nutrition, the more you will practice, and by trial and error, achieve your desired objectives. Second is balanced mind. Just as our body is prone to accumulating toxic pollution in its deep tissues without our knowing about it, the same way our mind is prone to accumulating impurities in its subconscious peripheral realm. Unfinished imbalanced emotions, misunderstood meanings of other people's words and situations, hasty incorrect conclusions create prisms through which it begins to perceive the world and other similar circumstances, making these prisms of distorted perception the life principles. But what it is in fact just a defense mechanism to avoid previous unpleasant experience or repeat previous pleasant experience. For example, a poorly tolerated detox experience would avert the mind from repeating it, making its principle not to detox anymore, and moreover try to convince others in its harmful effect. Same way with otherwise a pleasant experience, such as drinking coffee, or even alcohol, or drugs, and experiencing a pleasant sensation, making the mind addicted to harmful substances, yet looking around for any type of insignificant justification for its addiction. First, the mind understands it's playing a trick on itself and others too. Manipulation is the tool in this case. But then it loses the sense of reality and begins to believe the illusion and gets on a track of doing it automatically without consideration of anything and anybody, thus only multiplying its unhappiness. These are all impurities of the mind. This is the main reason for unhappiness and suffering and disease, psychological and psychosomatic conditions. Fears, anxiety, depressions, those are huge energy drains. This is the way the relationships get ruined, families collapse. Children subjected to such influence develop deep-rooted complexes and fail to realize their full potential in life. There are ways to come out of these illusions and purify the mind and recover the energy in the form of self-confidence and emotional stability. Number 3 is dynamics. Just as our mind needs thinking, our body needs movement. Without dynamics, it loses its agility and sense of adaptability. It falls into the trend of accumulating pollution, stagnates, and acidifies. Circulation slows down, and toxins within it sediment on the blood vessel walls, building plaques just like a river turning into a swamp. Lymphatic circulation depends on the muscle stimulation. Without it, it is prone to retain mutagenic and carcinogenic cells, giving them a chance to multiply and develop. Metabolism suffers. The mind becomes dull and apathic. It is hard to come out of this state initially, just like with nutrition. But when the body experiences the taste of the benefits, it catches on to it naturally and feels blissful. With properly proportioned dynamics, it has a great chance to purify itself on cellular level, restore the metabolic homeostasis and mitochondrial activity, allowing the energy to flow freely throughout the entire body. There are different types of physical activities: isometric, isotonic, aerobic, strengthening, and stretching. All of them are good and all of them bring their benefits. Different constitution individuals can benefit better from different types of exercises. Number 4. Nature. No matter how advanced of technology we can build and think of ourselves as master cybernetics, we are biological entities, and nothing can replace fresh air that trees produce, pure running water of springs, and rich fruitful soils that nourish us. We take nature and its purifying power for granted, and frequently forget to be grateful for these life essentials that matter more than our technological pursuit of happiness. Benefits of being out in nature are subtle, but important. Walking barefoot grounds and neutralizes the static electricity that creates free radicals that affect the body and mind in a very negative way. Nature soothes our senses, relaxes and nurtures us in all possible ways. And number 5, detox. Detox is our conscious action or a set of actions to aid our body in elimination of toxic pollution accumulating within our organs and systems. Elimination is a slow rate process. For example, the lymphatic circulation depends on the muscle dynamics. Bowels tend to retain stool and would almost never empty completely, and though there is a reason for it, that leads to development of hard and dry fecal matter that can gradually create an obstruction. Therefore, it is utmostly important to support our body's function of elimination, especially deep tissue and cellular elimination. There are different ways to do it, but before we do it, there is a lot of things to understand and learn how to do it safely without causing any harm. The top one is to get the elimination channels ready, making them elastic and flexible, so they can handle the proper amount of toxins going through them. Second one to consider is that the cleanse and detox begin with digestive tract first. In other words, cleansing of kidneys or lymphatic system cannot come before cleansing of the GI tract. There are a lot of failures of people doing detox. That produces a negative and sometimes harmful experience and effect, which leads them to be critical. Therefore, the guidance of a professional is highly advisable, especially for the beginners and people who consider a deeper and more healing type of detox. Let's avoid making these mistakes together and enjoy the benefits of enhanced energy and vitality we deserve. Doing a detox course once or twice a year can provide clarity to the mind and longevity to the body. Please like this video if you did. We hope it was useful and educational. Stay well, stay positive. Thank you.